Hello and welcome back to my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. Prologue, The Chosen One is born. In the Hall of Origins, the world's legendary Pokemon are grouped looking at the pink, blue-eyed cat known as Mew and Arceus, a white goat-like creature with a golden will attached to its body. Beside the two on the ground was a small white egg with pink spots around the shell. "When do you think it will hatch?" asked Celebi. "Hopefully by tomorrow, then we will have to say our goodbyes," answered Arceus. "My lord, are you sure you and Mew want to go through with this? This is your child after all?" asked Dialga. Mew nodded. "Yes, Arceus has already decided that our child will be the chosen one, and must have a strong bond with humans and Pokemon alike by becoming a trainer. And sadly, I don't believe they allow Pokemon to become a Pokemon trainer. I'm with Dialga for once. You're its parents, shouldn't you be the ones to raise it and just send it to Earth when it's old enough?" Arceus shook his head. "No, in order for him to have the perfect understanding of human and Pokemon relationships, our child must start at the beginning. Don't worry about our child being raised, myself and Mew have already chosen a human that has the heart and kindness to do so." Lugia raised an eyebrow with interest. "And if I may ask, who might that be, my lord?" "A human female in a small town called Pallet that lies in the Kanto region," answered Arceus. Then Entei spoke up. "What are you planning on calling your child?" Arceus sighed. "It took around 30 minutes, but we came up with a decent name out of the hundreds Mew came up with." The other legendaries in the room sweat dropped. Probably should have guessed Mew would go overboard when it came to naming the child. "Our child's name is the legendary Ash, and soon to be Ash Ketchum from Pallet." Chapter 1, Watching Him Grow. The next day came slow for the legendaries, all anxious to see Mew's and Arceus' newborn's arrival. They all once again grouped around the two parents, with the smaller legendaries like Celebi and the lake guardians Uxie, Mesprit and Azelf at the front, while the more larger ones watched from the back. All eyes were on the egg as it was shaking wildly until it started to glow and left in its place a much small baby Mew. Its fur was pure white just like its father, and when it opened its eyes for the first time, adjusting to the light, were gold instead of the blue crystal eyes that its mother has. The female legendaries cooed in happiness seeing the cute newborn Mew in front of them, much like the males except trying not to show it so much to keep their reputation. Same can't be said for the newborn, feeling uneasy with the larger lifeforms looking down at it and shut its eyes closed, trying to hide behind its small stubby paws, shaking in fear. That's until it felt two pink paws, one around its stomach and the other gently rubbing the back of its head. Turning its head to find out who paws it belonged to, saw that it was no other than Mew herself, and gently saying with a smile, "It's okay, Ashy, they're not going to hurt you, and if they do they have to get to me first, your mother." Ash tilted its head to the side a little confused at what Mew was saying, then he heard another unknown voice. "And me?" Ash turned its head once again to the new voice to see Arceus nuzzling him. "That I won't let anything happen to you, my son, as your father." Ash was still just as confused, not understanding what the two were saying, but he did feel safe around his mother and father, not wanting to be left alone. Soon he let a small and cute yawn and fell asleep once again, making the females squeal in delight. Arceus smiled as he looked at his sleeping child and chosen one, then saying that it is time. Mew slowly nodded and gave Ash a small kiss on the forehead before lifting him up and onto a small basket with soft blankets inside, and letting a single tear fall from her eyes. Arceus then lifted his head and gently touched his son's head and started to glow again, leaving a newborn human child. Mew picked up the basket with Ash still sleeping inside and teleport from the Hall of Origins to a small house in Pallet Town, and leaving him on the doorstep and ringed the doorbell. Watching from the distance, Mew saw the human known as Delia Ketchum read the note on the basket. "Please look after Ash with the utmost love and care. We are sorry, but it's not our destiny to raise our son, but we know you can. So please don't disappoint us." She saw as Delia looked around trying to find the one responsible for leaving the baby on her doorstep, but to no reveal. Looking back down at the baby known as Ash, she smiled and took him in her home. Mew gave a smile of her own and thought, "I look forward to watching you grow and meeting you again in the future, Ash." 10 years later. Arceus was once again looking into a special clear pool in the ground inside the Hall of Origins that helped him show the events that just happened on Earth. Flashback. On New Island, a large fight between the original Pokémon and their clone counterparts. By this point most have fallen due to losing their energy. Two of which are Mew and her clone Mewtwo charging their powerful Psychic Blast attacks. In the stadium watching on the sidelines a group of Pokémon trainers, one of which is Ash Ketchum wearing his everyday clothes and his Pokémon League Expo hat. After seeing his own Pikachu and best friend fall to the ground with his clone, he finally had enough and ran towards the two psychics in the middle of the stadium. "You have to stop," those were his final words before colliding with the two Psychic Blasts. Ash's friends and the Pokémon's eyes widened seeing the event in front of them. Mewtwo watched as that said boy fell to the ground and turned to stone. "Fool, trying to stop our battle." Mew was scared stiff thinking that she just killed her own child and could only watch as his Pikachu ran up to him try to wake him up. End flashback. After watching the battle conclude with Mewtwo flying off with the other clones, Mew teleported beside Arceus. "I sorry Arceus," said Mew as she hung her head low. "For what, Mew?" "It was my fault that our son almost died," she exclaimed with tears flying down her cheek. "It wasn't your fault, Mew, it was his role to do that as the chosen one to stop the fighting and teach Mewtwo his lesson about one's birth," said Arceus. "I still feel I'm the one to blame," said Mew as she rubbed her eyes. "At least he's still alive, that's the main thing," said Arceus. "Yeah, but I finally see him in person in so long and now thanks to Mewtwo has forgotten me," pouted Mew. "Don't worry, not only will he see you and me again, but he'll be back in his Mew form soon." Chapter 2, On the Run. The sun was setting in the small town of Pallet and the Pokémon trainer known as Ash Ketchum was running as fast as he can out of his hometown with his starter and trusted friend on his shoulder. He kept running, not stopping once to take a break until finally he made it to the top of a hill and the entrance of Route 1. He looked back and saw in the distance police officers parking outside of a building with a windmill where the famous Professor Oak lives. Ash's heart ran faster watching the scene. He couldn't exactly tell what's going on since he was so far away, but saw that the officers were making their way inside the lab. How could this happen? He thought as he continued to watch, until he was snapped out of it thanks to Pikachu tapping him on the head and pointing at the forest. Ash gave a small nod and made his way into Route 1 at a running speed. They made their way deeper into the forest, not bothering to walk on the path in Route 1, until they came across a stream that was calm without one single wave. Ash began to have flashbacks of the day he started his journey as a trainer and getting pulled by the current with Pikachu unconscious in his arms while being hunted by Spearow, only this time it was humanity. Pikachu didn't seem that interested in the trip down memory lane since something more interesting was on his mind. Pokémon that lived in the woods of Route 1 were watching the two and followed wherever they go. Ash didn't notice their stalkers because it was dark with the only light coming off the moon. Pikachu knew why they were here and didn't tell Ash, knowing that they weren't a threat. Things soon turned for the worst when thunder was heard in the distance and getting closer every minute. Then small raindrops were falling from the sky causing static to fly off Pikachu's red electric cheeks. This isn't good, Ash thought, knowing that they didn't have any tent with them and it was still a day-long trip to Viridian City. Ash was thinking harder than ever before, with questions floating in his head. What are we going to do? We can't sleep out here in rain without shelter. I have to do something, but what? Pikachu once again brought Ash back into reality when he noticed a Kangaskhan with of course its child in its pouch, just behind a few bushes. Ash searched his pocket until he found his updated Kanto Pokédex and scanned the Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan, a parent Pokémon. Once approaching extinction, they are now protected by law and inhabit the Safari Zone. Approach with extreme caution. The Kangaskhan is a rare Pokémon which raises its children in its pocket. They will attack viciously and without warning if they feel their young are threatened in any way. After he put the Pokédex back into his pocket. Why on earth would a Kangaskhan be all the way out here? Ash thought. Pikachu got in his stance in case the Pokémon attacked, but instead it stood there waving its paw telling them to follow. What do you think, Pikachu? Should we follow? Asked Ash, earning a nod from Pikachu after hopping onto his shoulder. Ash and Pikachu kept following close behind the Kangaskhan, who led them to a cave tall enough for them all to stand in, surrounded by a small lake. The cave was big enough to fit at least 5 more full-grown Kangaskhan, and hiding out of view was a small pile of berries and fruits. Pikachu hopped off Ash's shoulder and walked inside of the cave waiting for Ash. "Are you letting us stay here for the night?" asked Ash, not sure what's going on. The Kangaskhan nodded to confirm Ash's question. Ash smiled and gave out a sigh in relief that they won't have to sleep out in the rain. "Thanks so much Kangaskhan, we promise to leave as soon as the rain stops," earning a smile back from Kangaskhan. Time soon passed and Ash fell asleep on the cave floor, while Pikachu was watching the entrance. "You can sense our watchers, can't you?" Pikachu turned and saw the Mama Kangaskhan. "Yeah, they've been following us for a while now, it's because of Ash, isn't it?" The Kangaskhan nodded. The Pokemon all feel that the Chosen One is depressed, scared, and confused. "Does every Pokemon know who he is?" asked Pikachu. "Yes, the ones that are lucky enough to meet one of the legendaries have asked and confirmed it." "Your trainer and best friend," Pikachu interrupted. "And best friend is not only the Chosen One, but also Mew's, and Arceus' child if the rumors are true." Pikachu went wide-eyed at the last part. "Really? Wow, I've known that Ash was the Chosen One since the event at the Orange Islands, and then learning from Mew that Ash is her child when we went to the Tree of Beginning. But I didn't know Arceus was his father." "Where are you two heading now?" asked Kangaskhan. "We don't really know. Ash has been accused of stealing expensive technology and now Officer Jenny and the rest of Kanto's police force is after us." "Do you have any idea who it was who framed him?" asked Kangaskhan. Pikachu shook his head. "We don't, but Ash's friends are trying to find any evidence they can to help Ash's case. They better hurry to because I don't know how long we—" Pikachu's ears began to twitch. There was a lot of people heading towards them. Running to the entrance to the cave, Pikachu could see large group of police officers with Arcanines, Growlithes and Pidgeots heading towards the cave. Pikachu ran over to Ash and woke him up from his slumber. After realizing what was happening, he grabbed his bag and ran out of the cave with Pikachu. It was still raining. Behind Ash and Pikachu were the officers still giving chase after the 13-year-old. No matter how fast the two ran they couldn't get away, trying anything to give them the slip, using Pikachu's Thunderbolt to distract them, and even some of the wild Pokemon helped out. The two were eventually stopped when they ran into another set of officers. A official police chopper was hovering above them, shing a ray of light marking their location. "Ash Ketchum, you're completely surrounded with no escape. We are placing you under arrest charged with stealing and property damage. Send back your Pikachu into its Pokeball and place any other Pokemon or items you have on the ground with your hands above your head." Ash and Pikachu's minds were going crazy thinking almost the exact same thing. Idiots. He didn't do it. All hope was lost, until a white glow surrounded the two, and in a flash they dispersed, leaving the officer Jenny and her team speechless. Ash and Pikachu opened their eyes to find they weren't in Route 1 anymore but in a large white room looking like a palace with a large throne on the other side of the room, marble floors and pillars holding up the ceiling. The room was surprisingly bright considering there was no sign of lights keeping it lit. Ash was about to speak until another voice asked the same question. "Where are we?" Ash looked around to find it was still only him and Pikachu in the room. Ash scratched his head. "That's funny, I thought I heard a voice. I didn't hear anything." Ash looked down to find the words were coming from Pikachu. It was you. I can understand you." Pikachu looked at Ash with the same shocked expression before asking. "You can? How?" "It's because you're in the Hall of Origins." Ash and Pikachu turned to see the alpha Pokemon himself, Arceus, entering the room. Every language spoken here is translated. After getting over the shock, Ash was the first to ask Arceus. "So it was you who helped teleport us out of there?" Arceus nodded. "I saw what happened in my reflecting pool and got you two out before they had the chance. In the meantime you two are welcome to stay here for as long as you want. Follow me and I'll show you to your room." Ash then picked up Pikachu and held him in his arms and followed Arceus out of the main room into a large hallway connecting to many different rooms. I should probably warn you that this is the time of year when all the other legendaries come back here and stay for the month, said Arceus. Ash nodded. I'm sorry if we are in the way. Not at all, Ash. In fact, I think most if not all the other legendaries are willing to see you again, even the ones you haven't met yet. All I ask if you can stay in your room while we have our meetings, after you're welcome to look around and do whatever you please. Soon they arrived at Ash's and Pikachu's room right next to Arceus and Mew's. When they went inside they saw a king-size bed, a desk with 4 drawers on the side, a large T.V and 2 other doors with a closet and personal bathroom. The others will be here soon. I recommended you get some rest and I'll send one of the other legendaries to inform you when breakfast is ready. Then Arceus left, closing the door behind him, leaving Ash and Pikachu so they could rest. Chapter 3, Paradise. The next day came faster than expected. It had been a while since Ash had a good sleep. Opening his eyes slowly, he found himself inside of his room in the Hall of Origin, sleeping in his king-sized bed next to Pikachu. Finding the strength to get up out the bed, he walked over to the bathroom. After his quick shower and getting changed into clean clothes, he exited the bathroom and found Pikachu just waking up. Hey bud, how did you sleep? Asked Ash, smiling. Pikachu got up, stretched. Amazing, this is probably the best bed I've ever slept on. Same here, this place is like a 5-star hotel, agreed Ash. How long do you think Arceus will let us stay here? Asked Pikachu. Ash shrugged. Not sure, but we can't stay here forever. Well, can we stay for a few weeks and think a plan through before doing anything drastic? Ash sighed in defeat. Alright Pikachu, you win. Pikachu smirked. Don't I always? Hopping onto his friend's shoulder, he quickly took Ash's Sinnoh League hat. Ash chuckled and chased after his yellow friend, running around the room with his hat. After realizing he couldn't keep up with Pikachu's speed, he came up with a different plan and walked over to his backpack. Pikachu was standing on the king-sized bed with Ash's hat on his head. Giving up, I see. That's disappoint. Ash, what are you doing with those? Ash smirked while holding small packets of ketchup. Pikachu had a look of fear on his face. Ash, we can talk about this, just put them back and no one will get hurt. I don't know why you're so addicted to these. I mean, it's just ketchup, said Ash, looking at the ketchup packets in his hands. Well, the same can be said for you. I mean, it's just a hat, right? Said Pikachu, causing Ash to frown. Hey! At least a hat lasts for a lifetime, shouted Ash. Well, ketchup tastes good and doesn't cost that much money, unlike your hats. Do you really have to get a different hat for each region we go to? Argued Pikachu. This continued for another few minutes until both stopped their fight when they heard giggling, who soon discovered to be Mew. Ash's eyes widened. Mew. How long have you been hiding there for? Mew put her paw to her chin and thought. I would say around the time Pikachu took your hat, Ashy. You were here all this time, shouted both Ash and Pikachu at the pink psychic cat. Mew just giggled more before answering. Well, of course, I was sent to inform you two that breakfast was almost ready, but after hearing the commotion, I thought why not watch. Ash and Pikachu just rubbed their heads in an embarrassed way, then Mew's attitude changed, more serious. Okay, you two make up and I'll show you to the dining room where the others are waiting. The boys did what they were told, with Ash putting the ketchup back into his backpack while Pikachu gave his hat back, and soon the three were walking down the marble hallway with Pikachu on Ash's shoulder and Mew flying next to him. Hey Mew, apart from you and Arceus, who else is joining us? Asked Ash. Mew gave him a puzzled look. The other legendaries, of course. Didn't Arceus tell you last night that this is the time of the year where all the legendaries stay at the Hall of Origins? Must have forgot, said Ash. The three looked ahead to see Arceus standing next to a set of wooden doors. That took longer than I thought, Mew. Well, Ash and Pikachu were having a brotherly argument over hats and ketchup, so I thought I would watch, said Mew, smiling at the memory. Arceus nodded and opened the doors leading to the dining room. The room looked like the same structure design as the rest of the Hall of Origins, marble floors and pillars holding the roof, but there was a large wooden table with a variety of different food from fruits and berries. Looking around, he saw a few Pokémon he recognized who instantly recognized him and walked over to greet them. First one looked like a taller version of Mew, better known as Mewtwo. The other two Pokémon looked similar except for size difference. Two bird-like creatures with hand-looking wings with white feathers and blue stomachs, the legendary Pokémon Lugia with his son. "It's good to see you again, Ash." "Mewtwo, it's good see you too," said Ash, then he turned to the others. "Lugia, it's been ages since I've seen you," said Ash, giving him a smile. "Same here, it's nice to see you're alive and well. You remember my son Lou, don't you?" Ash nodded and examined the smaller Lugia in front of him. He definitely got taller the last time he met him in Johto, only slightly smaller than Ash. "It's good to meet you again, Lou. You've gotten taller since I last met you." Lou nodded. "You bet I have, Father has told me a lot about you after our first encounter. I hope we'll be good friends." "You bet," said Ash, giving Lou a high-five wing. Soon Ash, Pikachu and the rest of the legendaries gathered around the table and eat. While they eat, Ash met the other legendaries that live in Unova and Kalos. Ash also reunited with the others he met in the past like Latias, who ran right into him giving a bone-crushing hug as soon as she saw him. "So Ash, tell us, how did the league go?" asked Arceus. The others become silent. "Me, Pikachu and the rest of the team were doing great. We beat Paul but lost to Tobias going up against a Darkrai and a Latios," explained Ash. Pikachu sighed with his ear lowered, remembering the memory, "and we came so close to winning, just to lose to a guy with two legendaries backing him up." Ash patted his head. "Don't worry, Pikachu, we'll train and show everyone how much we've improved when we head to Unova," Ash said with confidence. "Still, that sounds cheap. Hey, wait a minute, can't we help Ash out and join his team?" asked Lou. His father shook his head. "As much as we would like to, we can't, Lou. Unlike those legendaries, we as the originals that were created by Arceus have our own jobs to keep the world in balance." "How many other legendaries are there?" asked Ash. Mew decided to answer his question. "Only a few of us had children that are now currently on Earth, like the Darkrai and Latios you battled." "Have you had any children, Mew?" The room suddenly got silent that you could hear a pin drop and hit the ground. Arceus smiled. "Mew and myself did have a child, a small white Mew with golden eyes. Sadly, he had his own destiny to follow on Earth, but we still watch him over him accomplish his goals." "Cool, will he be here soon?" Arceus shook his head. "I'm sorry, Ash, but like I said, he has his own goals and destiny. He most likely won't be joining us." Ash's face saddened at that. "That's a shame. I wonder if I'll ever meet him." "Of course, I bet you two would get along great. In fact, I bet." "Hey, that was mine, Dialga. You knew that I was going to eat that." "I didn't. Then again, I'm doing you a favor here, you need to watch your weight." "What did you say?" "Enough. If you two want to fight, take it to the arena. Not in the dining room when we have guests." "But Lord Arceus." "But nothing, Palkia. Giratina, please take them somewhere else so they can end their childish argument and let us finish our food." Ash and Pikachu's sweat dropped watching Giratina pull both Dialga and Palkia out of the room. "Are they always like that?" Rayquaza sighed. "Sadly, I swear that those two find any stupid excuse to start a fight. They can be scary sometimes, but you get used to it," said Victini. The rest of breakfast went by smoothly with Ash getting to know the over-legendary like Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde. When they all finished, Lou pulled Ash into the hallway with Pikachu following behind. "Lou, where are you taking us?" "To the Hall of Origins garden. I bet you and Pikachu will love it," replied back, showing excitement in his voice. The trio soon found themselves in another set of doors, and when they opened, both Ash and Pikachu had opened mouths gasping at the sight that only could be described as paradise. A clean-aired woodland environment with a comfortable temperature, including many streams and rivers connecting to a large crystal-clear lake in the center, and many trees and bushes with different fruits and berries. The sound of a poke gear was heard in Ash's pocket, ending the natural sounds of the garden. This caught Ash off guard due to the fact that being in the Hall of Origins he didn't expect to get a signal. Pulling it out his pocket he answers the call. Ash, where are you? I've been so worried. Yeah, I'm fine, Mom, I'm at a safe place. She sighs in relief. I saw the news after Jenny came over demanding to take you away that you randomly disappeared in the forest. Me, Professor Oak have tried to tell them you're innocent but they wouldn't take no for an answer. They said they had clear evidence of video recordings of you breaking into the research lab. You know I didn't do though, Mom, I mean that happened when I was traveling back from Sinnoh. Even Brock was with me before split up. Of course I believe you, Ash, but the boy in the tapes, even if the face is a bit fuzzy, he had the same clothing on. Even a Pikachu on his shoulder. I just don't understand who would be out to frame you. Ash tried to cheer her up. Hey, don't worry, Mom, we'll find proof that it wasn't me and this will all be behind us. I hope you're right, Ash. Meanwhile, back in Kanto in Team Rocket's HQ, Giovanni was sitting at his desk in his usual orange suit and his Persian by his side, currently taking to one of the team's high-level grunt. Give me the status of the progress in the labs right now. The grunt nodded. Yes, sir, they say they're making great progress now that they have the equipment they need and data. Now only having to construct the machine and collect the main targets. Giovanni smirked at the good news before changing the subject. And what of the boy? The police force took the bait and now doing everything they can to arrest him, keeping all evidence off us, sir. And his whereabouts? Well, you see, sir, he's gone off the map. Giovanni raised an eyebrow. Explain. News says that they cornered him in Route 1's forest but suddenly teleported out in time before they could make their move. And our trackers can't seem to find him. Do everything you can to find him. Why, sir, I mean he's just a kid, right? He shook his head. Ever since the Mutable project I've told the 3 idiots to follow him, and I find it interesting that he and his friend find themselves in life or death situations, especially when it comes to other teams in other regions and the legendaries, and I want to find out what. That's is all dismissed. When the grunt left, Giovanni opened up files with a picture of Ash at the front. What are you, Ash Ketchum? Chapter 4, I'm what? 3 days since Ash was brought to the Hall of Origins, before being chased from his own home to a dark forest. Ash was currently laying in his bed with Pikachu sleeping beside him as usual. The past 3 nights have been harder and harder to sleep due to Ash overthinking. After the phone call with his mother and learning that the entire Kanto police force was after him, he's been trying to think who could possibly fame him. Ash has met a lot of bad guys on his Pokemon journey, from the Team Rocket trio to power-minded evil organizations, Pokemon hunters, you name it. Ash sighed, sometimes wishes that once on his journey that things will be normal. It's not like other trainers have to do the amount of crazy stuff that him and the people who travel with him go though. He couldn't stop thinking about them as well. Don't get him wrong, it's awesome to be in the Hall of Origins hanging out with the god himself and the other legendaries that in a way act like family towards him, especially Mew. But what about his friends? What do they think about the mess he's in? Are his Pokemon at Oaks okay? Even though both his mother and Oak say that his friends and Pokemon are fine and trying to prove his innocence. It's been a while since he's seen Misty or Tracy and would like to catch up with all of them. Knowing that he wasn't going to be sleeping anytime soon, he got out of bed still in his clothes and walked out into the hallway toward the garden forest. Ever since Lou showed him the garden, he found it to be his most visited part of the Hall of Origins. Something about it is just so calming to him. Before the teen could make it, he walked past a room glowing with some sort of light. Letting his curiosity get the better of him, he walked inside, finding a clear pool in the ground causing the room to glow. Stepping closer and taking a look, expecting to see his human reflection, almost made him scream. Did I just see? No, he couldn't have. Shaking his head in denial, took another look, thinking it was his tired mind playing tricks on him. Then there it was again, a white-colored furred Mew with golden eyes. Waving his hand, the Mew in the reflection did the same with its paw. Great, now he's going to have nightmares. Ash? Spinning around and almost falling into the pool when doing so, seeing both Mew and Arceus. I am sorry, I don't mean to intrude, I was going to take a walk in the garden but this thing caught my eye and then I say my reflection but except it's not. Ash, calm down and take deep breaths, said Arceus, trying to calm the boy down. He was planning to tell him the truth anyways, but this wasn't what he had in mind. Once Ash caught his breath, Arceus started explaining. You see Ash, this is where I watch down on Earth, but one of its effects is to show someone's true self. Huh, wait, that doesn't mean that I mean what I thinking is true? Ash asked with huge eyes from shock. It's true Ash, you're our child. Mew confirmed. That was all Ash could handle before collapsing to the ground, but was caught by Mew's psychic. Arceus could have swore that he saw Mew smirk. Mew, what are you thinking? The next day Ash opened his eyes once again, found himself back in his room. That was one crazy dream, I mean me, Mew and Arceus, I don't remember walking back into my room. And something is off but I can't put my tail on it. Wait, tail. Meanwhile at the dinner hall most if not all the legendaries were getting ready for breakfast until a scream got their attention. Arceus instantly looks at Mew. See Mew, I told you this will happen. Was that Ash? Lou asked, concerned for his friend. He could be hurt. I wouldn't say that. Really Mew, I think you might have traumatized him, said Arceus. What did Mew do? Shouted Groudon, getting frustrated. I bet Dialga had something to do with it. Palkia said with a glare at a certain legendary. What did you say? Dialga shouted. Don't you two start. Giratina said with annoyance. The legendaries soon began walking to Ash's and Pikachu's room with Mew and Arceus at the lead. When they soon arrived inside they found a young-looking white Mew pinned down on the floor, scared and confusion written all over its face by Pikachu trying to calm him down. Pikachu was soon pulled off him while Ash was trapped in a psychic pink bubble. It was bad enough that Ash was already having a rough morning from his overnight transformation, and learning the truth now felt like he was being caged. It didn't help that all the other legendaries were looking at him with wide eyes. Hey, what's the big idea? I'm not letting you out until you calm down and let us explain, Ashy, stated Mew, while Ash just sighed in defeat knowing he didn't stand a chance of getting out of the bubble. That and embarrass himself more than he already has. Now let's start at the beginning. Mew and Arceus began to tell Ash the truth, from the beginning when he was first born and turned human, so that he can have a strong bond with humans and Pokemon, help keeping the world safe. Ash remained silent, his mind putting the pieces together. We're so sorry Ash that we've kept it a secret from you for so long. Mew apologized with sadness in her voice, we wanted to wait until you were ready. Ash, still thinking, closed his eyes, feeling them to start watering up. See, can I be let out now please? After the pink psychic bubble that surrounded Ash popped, Mew flew towards, breaking the space between him and put the smaller Mew into a hug. Arceus joined in by nuzzling him like he did when Ash was first hatched. Lugia and Ho-Oh escorted Pikachu and the other legendaries back out of the room, knowing better to leave and not interrupt the family moment in front of them. Does Emodila know what I am? Ash asked. No, she doesn't. We only left a note with you saying that we couldn't raise you like we wanted and gave you to her knowing she would be a good parent for you. Looks like we made the right choice, explained Arceus. Yeah, it can be a little embarrassing though sometimes, remembering all the time Dyla reminded Ash to change his underwear in front of other people. That's part of being a mother, Ashy. Mew said, smiling. Am I still allowed to see her? Asked Ash, bringing shocked expression Mew's and Arceus's faces. Of course you can. We know this must be hard for you, Ash, learning all this all so sudden, but Delia has been more of a parent to you more than Mew and me. It wouldn't be right if we force you and her away from each other like that. Thank you Mom, Dad, he said, smiling. Mew and Arceus smiled back and began to leave the room, but turned noticing Ash wasn't following. Ash, is something wrong, son? Arceus asked. Ash lowered his head in embarrassment. It's just that I don't know how to fly. Chapter 5, Training and More Explanations. For the rest of the morning in the Hall of Origins, Ash spent all of his time learning and controlling his Mew form, starting to learn the basics such as hoving, using Psychic to create a golden bubble just like what Mew and Mutwo can make, turning invisible, and telepathy. We now find both Ash and Mewtwo in the center of the training room with Pikachu and Lou off in the sidelines watching the two cat Pokemon in the distance. Okay Ash, you already have the basics of how to use Psychic, now we are going to start training in using that power in battle, such as Teleport. Then we are going to get you to learn more offensive moves, explained Mewtwo. Keep in mind though Ash, because you're a legendary you can use almost every move, but the downside is that you must take time to fully train and learn how to use that move. Makes sense, but what moves do you think I should try to learn? Asked Ash. Like I said, first we get your psychic skill up, then I think an excellent move you should learn is Aura Sphere. Aura Sphere, repeated Ash. Lord Arceus informed me that you have a great amount of aura, and now since you have turned back into your Mew form you should easily make a perfect Aura Sphere like you did in the Tree of Beginning, but you won't need Sir Aaron's gloves. The next move I think you should learn is Iron Tail, which is a great close quarters move. That, and you already have experience teaching it to Pikachu. Ash nodded, understanding the plan. Step 1, working on his teleport, then learn how to create an Aura Sphere and Iron Tail. Alright, let's go. Mewtwo chuckled. Alright then, but be warned Ash, I'm known for being a tough tutor. You guys are insane. Ash shouted, just barely avoiding a thunderbolt from Pikachu. Turns out Ash is fast learner, mastering the Aura Sphere and teleportation reasonably fast, although he still needs work on the Iron Tail. Since Ash was making fast progress, Mewtwo thought it would be a great idea to have a survival test. Survival test, basically meaning having both Pikachu and Lou on one team versus just Ash alone. Pikachu was all for the idea on battling Ash, wanting to, since he found out the truth and couldn't wait to brag about to Ash's other Pokemon back in Pallet Town. Lou, being on the same level as Ash, not knowing much moves except for the basics of Psychic and Water Gun, was just happy to help out his friend and get some training of his own. Alright, that's enough. Mewtwo's words echoed through the training room. Well, that was fun. Lou said with Pikachu by his side. Maybe for you. You didn't have to use your full strength, Pikachu, shouted Ash, breathing heavily. Come on Ash, didn't you have fun? And besides, Lou's around the same level as you, said Pikachu. He still has more experience training with Lugia, not to mention I only found out this morning. Said Ash, gesturing to himself. The doors suddenly opened, revealing Jirachi entering the training room. Ash. What is it, Jirachi? He asked the small legendary. It's Arceus, he wants to see you. Hearing this, Ash got worried, thinking the worst. Come on Ash, it can't be that bad. Pikachu encouraged the young Mew. Fine. Arceus was watching his reflection pool, waiting for a curtain white Mew to arrive. When Ash, Pikachu and Lou finally made it into the room, he floated to him. Is something wrong, father? Arceus smiled to himself, glad Ash has gotten more comfortable with him as his birth father. Will Ash, I was doing my usual watch on Earth and checking on your friends. Has something bad happened? Are they hurt? Oh no. They haven't been arrested by Officer Jenny, have they? No, I knew I should have gone back. Ash, it's not like that. Arceus said in his calm self. Oh, sorry father for over-exaggerating. Ash apologized. I think over-exaggerating is an overstatement. Lou smirked. Ash used his psychic to push Lou's leg, causing the young Lugia to fall onto his stomach. Anyway, it appears while you have been resting and learning to control your powers, your friends from different regions got together to try and find evidence to prove your innocence. It's good that you have lots of loyal friends in your travels. Ash smiled. Yeah, they're the best. Can I see? Of course. Ash, looking over to the pool, showed a clear image of all his traveling companions. From Kanto was Brock, the Pokemon breeder doctor in training, and Misty, the Cerulean City water gym leader. Tracy, a Pokemon watcher who he first met in the Orange Islands. May and her little brother Max from Hoenn. And last was Dawn, who has the same dream as May to become a top coordinator from Sinnoh. I have a great idea. Mew suddenly appeared behind Ash, pulling him into a hug. What do you have in mind, Mew? Pikachu asked, giving her a questioning look. Why not bring them here? I'm sure your father doesn't mind having them stay for a day or two. Arceus didn't need any time thinking about the idea. Even though he would never let any human in the Hall of Origins unless someone worthy enough, Ash's friends were trustworthy and had good hearts. He already knows how they act after watching Ash's adventures since his Pokemon journey began. Very well then. Now's a good time than never. In a split second the group of Pokemon trainers teleported right in front of them in a flash of light. A look of confusion and worry appeared on their faces now that they're in an unknown location to them. Hi guys. Ash greeted them acting like nothing has changed. Every one of Ash's friends' eyes were now on him with added shock to their already confused state. Ash? May asked, unsure of the Mew in front of them. Duh, who else did you think it was? Oh, I don't know, maybe MEW. You have a lot of explaining to do, Ash. Misty burst out. Nice to know she hasn't changed since the last time I saw her. Calm down, Misty, we can explain everything. The group only now just realized that there are others in the room with them. Arceus and Mew are now by their child's side as well as Pikachu and Lou. Brock was the first to recognize Lou. Hey, I remember you. You're that baby Lugia we rescued. I'm not a baby anymore, pouted Lou, folding his wings. Mew, we haven't seen you since the incident at the Tree of Beginning. May and Max both talking to the adult psychic cat. And you're Arceus. But where exactly are we? Asked Dawn. I just teleported you all to the Hall of Origins. Mew thought it would be a good idea for you all to check up on Ash. Arceus explained. Okay, let me get this straight. You've been staying here with Arceus and all the other legendaries to hide from the police, said Misty. Yes. And you learned that you're actually a Mew. May adds. Yes. And now you're training how to use your powers. Dawn finished. Yes, now any more questions? Ash asked. This is incredible. Tracy shouted in excitement, who was extremely quiet since he arrived at the hall. Tracy ran up to Ash in full Pokemon Watcher mode, with his sketch pad in hand. Unlike your mother, your fur is the same shade of white of Arceus and have golden-colored eyes. Your height is much shorter than Mew but near the same as Pikachu. What moves do you know? What type of food have you been eating? You have to tell me everything, he asked. At this point Tracy had Ash backed up into a wall, bombarding him with question after question. The others watching, other than Mew, who thought the situation was enjoyable to watch, had an anime sweat drop. Someone help me. Chapter 6, Plan in Action. I still don't understand why I'm here, Giovanni. I'm a collector, nothing more. Back in Team Rocket's HQ, Giovanni was talking to Lawrence III in his office. It's simple, Lawrence. Back in the Orange Islands you had a goal to capture the legendary birds. But sadly your goal was taken from you by a 10-year-old child. The Chosen One Inch was it they called him. Lawrence clenched his fist. Doesn't explain why I'm here. We want you recreate the weapons that you used. For what? So you can capture the legendary birds for your own twisted games. Giovanni smirked. Not just the birds, but all the legendaries. Even the alpha Pokemon himself. And why should I help you? Lawrence asked. Well, Lawrence, shall I remind you what happened after Ash Ketchum stopped you? You were soon caught by the Orange Island police force. We got you out of prison. Two guards came up behind Lawrence. We can easily put you back in, or worse. He sighed. When do I start? A month has passed since Ash and Pikachu arrived at the Hall of Origins. Now it's time for all the legendaries, not counting Arceus and Ash, to leave and return back to their duties on Earth. Ash and Pikachu continued to stay in the Hall of Origins and right now sitting next to a stream in the garden. Everything was peaceful until in a blink of an eye Lou teleports in a flash of light in front of Ash. Lou. Why are you here? Ash asked. Something bad has happened. Lou sniffed, obvious that he's been crying, and started to tell the two what happened. In the Orange Islands waters, a Team Rocket submarine was scouting the waters as if hunters looking for a prey. "Sir, we have 2 targets on scanner." "It's them," the leader noted. "Start capture." Meanwhile, Lou and Lugia are swimming happily. "Don't go too far." "Okay, Dad." Lou continued to swim freely until something caught his eye, a flash of light. Lou went towards the lights that was stuck in the sand. All of a sudden the lights stopped. A clueless expression appeared on Lou's face. After a minute waiting, Lou got bored and turned to leave until he heard a clicking sound. Metal poles flew out of the sand and begun connecting with one another until resembling a cage-like trap. Lou was scared out of his mind when the trap span towards him and would have got caught if Lugia didn't fire a hyper beam destroying it. Their victory was short-lived when 6 more emerged from the sand circling the 2 legendaries. Lugia narrowed his eyes, knowing who made the traps. Lou, now close next to his father, was unsure what was happening. "Lou, I want you to go to the hall and inform Ash what's happening." "But what about you?" Lou asked with a frightened tone in his voice. "That I'm sorry. Next thing I knew, I'm teleport here." The news shocked both Ash and Pikachu as they tried to comfort the young Lugia. When Lou calmed down, Ash suggested to inform Arceus of what happened, but upon arriving they found a small handful of the legendaries in the main area with Arceus. The current legendaries that were present was the legendary dogs, Celebi, Latias, Rayquaza, Deoxys and Sinnoh's Lake Guardians. "Father, something's happened." "So I heard. I sent a call informing all legendaries to return back to the hall. Others that aren't here have been captured or have gone into hiding," Arceus said. "We've seen that technology before when we had that incident at the Orange Islands." "Could it be the same person?" Ash asked, remembering the memory. "It seems so. He's joined up with Team Rocket to make the plans for the traps that capturing the over-legendaries." Arceus continued explaining. "We can't just stay here hiding," NTI commented. Rayquaza nodded. "Agreed, we can't let these humans control and use us for their dark goals. But we can't just charge right in, that's what they want us to do." Deoxys acknowledged. "We must think of a plan." "But what can we do?" Latias asked. Once again the room was silent, each legendary thinking hard. "Send me down." All look at Ash as if he was crazy. "Young Mew, it's too dangerous. Even if you use transform and hide your true form, you will still be a moving target." Mesprit is right, Ash. "Let's not forget that the police is still a problem you have watch out for." Arceus added. "Don't worry, I don't plan to go alone. My friends will help back me up." "But son, please," continue Arceus before getting interrupted. "I'm going with Ash too, and let's not forget all the other Pokemon that Ash has befriended." Pikachu pointed out. "So am I." Now everyone was caught off guard by Lou speaking up. "Lou?" Ash said, puzzled. "What, we're friends, right? Friends help each other. Not to mention they have my dad, and when it happened I started acting like a coward, the one thing I'm promised myself not to become. I want help." Ash looked at his father, who just sighed. "Just be careful, otherwise Lugia will have my head." All other Pokemon had shocked faces, thinking he had gone insane. "Are you sure this is wise, my lord?" Suicune questioned. "I have faith in Ash and his friends." Arceus gave Ash a serious look. "Just be careful, I know that you've done lots of life-threatening things before, but the stakes are high right now." Ash flew and hugged his father, saying thanks. "Luckily your friends haven't gone separate ways since they last stayed here. So I'll try and teleport you 3 close to the Pokemon Center. You ready?" Arceus asked, receiving a nod from all 3 of them, and teleporting in a flash of light. Chapter 7, Prepare for Trouble. Opening his eyes, Ash saw that he was in a forest with the sun still bright in the afternoon sky. Looking around he found no presence of his traveling partners. He looked around the area in a panic, unable to find both Lou and Pikachu. We must have got separated. I guess I should find out where I am. The white Mew thought as he took flight up into the top of the trees, getting a view of the forest. In the distance he could see a Pokémon Center connecting to a walkway. I just hope Lou and Pikachu didn't spawn too far away. He was about to fly to the center until a cry of help was heard below him. Going on instinct, Ash traveled towards the cry, finding a little girl calling out to an EV that was holding onto a rock in a heavy river. Ash reacted fast and used his psychic powers to pull the EV out of the river before the Pokémon lost its grip on the rock. The EV then found itself somehow lifted up in the air towards its crying trainer. Ash smiled seeing the two happily back together and overall relieved that he made it in time to help out. It was that moment that Ash noticed that both the young girl and Eevee were looking right at him. Realizing his mistake of not turning invisible in a flash disappeared, leaving the two with more questions. Meanwhile, Ash's friends were getting closer to the Pokémon Center. Finally we made it. It's been so long since I've slept in a real bed. May said in relief. The others agreed and continued their way to the entrance. As they walked in, they found the Pokémon Center to be almost completely empty. The only person in the room was the center's nurse Joy. Brock's eyes turned to love hearts upon seeing her. Unlikely for Brock, before he could confess his love for the nurse, a bright light filled the room. When the sudden light dimmed down, they found Brock on the ground with both Pikachu and Lou sitting on top of him. Hey, we made it. Wait, where's Ash? Pikachu asked in his natural language. Once the group got over their shock, they walked up to the Pokémon and the still crushed Brock. What are you two doing here? Dawn questioned. Lou was the one to answer since he was the only one that could talk back with telepathically. All the legendaries are being captured by Team Rocket and me. Ash and Pikachu are going to try and stop them. So you and Ash think it's a good idea to stop them, even though both you and Ash are legendary Pokémon. Not only that, if Ash uses transform and into a human form, he is still being hunted down by the police. There's a long pause until Lou translated for Pikachu. Well, when you say it like that it sounds stupid. That's because it is. Misty argued back. Is that a Lugia? Nurse Joy asked in complete shock. Suddenly Lou and Pikachu were flung backwards as Brock made an instant recovery and in a second was on one knee holding the Pokémon nurse's hand. Oh, Nurse Joy, just the sound of your voice is enough to fix any wounds. Brock was cut off as a sudden poison jab that hit him in the back. Sadly, it's not that effective against Krogunk. The Pokémon doctor then fell to the ground and was pulled away. Is he going to be alright? Nurse Joy asked with a mix of confusion and worry. Don't worry about him. It happens all the time. Dawn said to the nurse. Unknown to the group, they were being watched from outside through the Pokémon Center's windows. Do you see what I'm seeing, James? Yes, Jessie. It seems the twerps have gotten themselves a legendary Pokémon, a Lugia. Jessie looked back at the window. I want to know how they caught it. The twerps do seem to get involved with legendary Pokémon all the time, Jessie, said the talking Pokémon. They got lucky, Meowth. That's all, and soon both Pikachu and Lugia will be ours to give to the boss. Meowth nodded. I can see it now. The boss would be sitting at his desk, but all of a sudden the heat from the sun makes it too hot to concentrate on his work. But thanks to Lugia and its large wings helps fan and cool the boss right down. Not only that, but as the Lugia gets older it will also become a strong and rare Pokémon for Team Rocket, and the boss will give us a promotion for all our hard work. It's perfect, nothing could go wrong. Jessie smirked. Hang on, I can see every twerp in the room except for the one with the hat. I wonder where he is. James questions. Who cares? It just makes it easier for us to nab Pikachu and Lugia. Jessie said with determination. While Team Rocket made their plans, Ash's friend did their best to explain the situation to Nurse Joy. The Pokémon nurse was indeed shocked at the end of their story. The center's doors opened and the same young girl and Eevee that Ash saved came running in. Mommy, Mommy. You'll never guess what happened to me and Evie. Then she noticed Lou. Wow! Another rare Pokemon, and it looks like a baby too. So cute. Lou pouted, I'm not that young. Wait a minute, Samantha. You've seen another rare Pokemon like Lugia? That's what I was going to tell you. Eevee almost got SCKED down a river but was saved by a small white Pokemon that I've never seen around here before. Wait a minute. Tracy took off his backpack and pulled out his drawings. Did it look like this? He showed her a drawing of Ash in the Hall of Origin. Yes, that's it. The group was relieved that he was close by. But their happiness was cut short as a large robotic arm came crashing through the wall and grabbed both Pikachu and Lou, pulling the Pokemon out of the building and outside. Everyone ran outside to save the kidnapped Pokemon and found a giant robot mech with Pikachu and Lou stuck inside of a see-through box attached on the robot. What is that? Cried Nurse Joy. I think we know. Max scoffed. Laughter was heard as the top opened showing the 3 Rocket members. Team Rocket. Who else twerps? Give use back Pikachu and Lugia, yelled Brock. No way, this time Team Rocket is going to win this round. Jessie teased. Too bad the Hat twerp isn't here to see this. Maybe if he took better care of his Pikachu we wouldn't have to take it away. There is no way we're going to let you do that, and with that they released their Pokemons. Each trainer giving a command, attacking both the box and mech, with no luck. Ha, it's gonna take more than that to destroy this baby. Plus that box isn't going to open while its power is operational. Out of nowhere the mech's lights went out and came to a stop. Pikachu and Lou pushed open the lid of the cage and jumped out and ran back to the group. What happened? James, did you touch something? Jessie screamed. It wasn't me, Jess. Was it you, Meowth? Wasn't me. James. Then they were suddenly lifted into the air and thrown high into the sky. What just happened? We had it. Maybe next time, Jess. Looks like Team Rocket is blasting off again. They took off and disappeared into the distance. What just happened? Dawn asked, not understanding what just happened. It must have been that baby Mew. Samantha smiled. Are you out there, Ash? Pikachu looked around and soon they heard chuckling in their heads. All I did was turn the thing off while they couldn't see me, and did you see the look on their faces? So funny. Ash joked, reappearing in front of them. And just where have you been, Ash? Misty asked with a frown. Ash scratched the back of his neck in embarrassment. Let's just say that I flew into some of the forest Pokemon on the way here and... Is it true that you were raised as a human? One Pokemon asked. Well, yes. But... Is it true that legendaries live forever? Another asked. I believe so. Arceus has green and red eyes and Mew has blue. Why do you have gold eyes? Do you believe the next chapter will ever come out? What? They had a lot of questions. Ash laughed. Ash got a shock as he was pulled out of the sky and into the arms of Samantha. Me and Eevee want to thank you for saving him back in the river. Thank you, so much. I thought it was the end of me. Ash could only smile, you're both very welcome. But unknown to them, Team Rocket's hidden camera was still on. Meanwhile at the Rocket HQ's lab all of the captured legendary Pokemon were all still in their electric traps and Giovanni was watching it all. All of your power is being taken and will be used to power my new creation. Mutwo failed me, and this time. It won't happen again. Sir. A Rocket grunt walked up. What is it? He growled. Its members Jessie and James, sir. Giovanni huffed hearing their names. What have those idiots done this time? Their hidden cameras got something which you might find useful. He held out a tablet with the video playing. As the Rocket leader watched as grin appeared on his face. Send out traps on this location, also send a team to Pallet Town. I think it's time I had a word with Delia Ketchum. Chapter 8, My Human Mom. Since the attack on the Pokemon Center, we now find our reunited heroes back together in the forest, planning on what their next action. Tell me again why we're in the middle of the forest and not back in the center. Because May, it's safer for Ash and Lou out here than in a building full of people who might try and capture them. Max told his sister. We are lucky that Nurse Joy and Samantha promised to keep it all a secret. Brock couldn't agree more with Dawn. Only an angel like Nurse Joy would have the heart of gold to keep such a life-changing secret. Ignoring the delusional Pokemon doctor, the others turned their attention to the Mew. So Ash, do you have any plan somewhere in that empty skull of yours? Ash rolled his eyes at Misty's question. Right now we need to figure out who's doing all of this, find where they are and rescue the legendaries. Whoever it is, they're using the same traps as that collector guy that we met in the Orange Islands. You think it could be him doing all this? Tracy disagreed. Last time I checked, he was put in prison. May got out a small tablet from her bag. It might be him, the local news says he just recently found missing from his cell. Doesn't mean it could be just him. Someone could have helped him escape. Lou pointed out. Ash scratched his head with his long tail in thought. Yeah, and in return helped make more traps. We can't be so sure, we need to find more clues on who's doing this, argued Brock. It must be an organization. Only they have the power and money to set something up like this. Said Max, but Ash had face off against Team Rocket, Magma, Aqua and Galactic. It could be any of them or one that we've never heard of. The group was silenced, thinking to the point that it hurt their heads. Dawn finally had enough. Well, like Brock said, we aren't going to know until we find more proof. So I think we should get dinner started and get some early rest. It's been a long day. With that said, the group of teens agreed. The night was peaceful with a pitch-black sky filled with bright stars. The group of trainers and Pokemon slept without a care in the world, all except for one white Mew. While Ash was asleep next to Lou and Pikachu, but his mind was in a completely different place. He was floating in a dark room, no light, no sound. He didn't like it, something felt really bad. Hello. He called out, he wasn't expecting a reply when all of a sudden. Ash. The young Mew's eyes widened. That voice, it sounds so familiar but yet it sounded broken, unheard of. He flew closer to the voice and looked, still nothing. Who's there? Ash. Again he flew closer towards the voice, but this time he found someone. His heart broke from the sight. A woman, cuffed to a chair, covered from head to toe with cuts, bruises, and burn marks. It took him a second to realize who it was. He never saw her like this before. She was always healthy, full of spirit. But now she was completely broken. Her head slowly lifted up and her black eyes looked at the Mew in front of her, and she smiled. Since I found you on my doorstep that I always knew you're special, Ash. Mom. He couldn't believe it. This wasn't her. This must be a nightmare. But his body moved closer to the broken form of Delia Ketchum. What happened to you? These people took me. They called themselves Team Rocket. They moved me to their base. Kept asking me all these questions about you. I never told them anything. So they. Team Rocket did this. This was them. Ash was in a state, his own eyes never stopped crying and his voice was breaking from his emotions. Yes, Ash, I think, they're the ones that started everything. Ash couldn't take this, he hugged her with everything he had, his crying never slowed down. This can't be real. This is all a dream, I'll wake up right. You're fine. She only shook her head. No, Ash. I'm awake right now, even if you're not in front of me physically. I can see you in my head, I can hear your voice. This is real. And no, this can't. Ash, look at me. His golden eyes looked right into her brown ones. I don't know if I can make it through this. But please listen to me. I thought I would never be happy. After that I was left and the love of my life abandoned me. But that you came, that I was trusted to look after you and love you. And I was so grateful that I was given a chance to raise a baby, even if it wasn't mine. You made me proud. Going on your Pokemon journeys, even if you got into dangerous situations that frightened me so much. And Mom, she gave him a gentle shush. Promise me, Ash. Never change. And stay happy. No matter what. I promise. She smiled, and if you're ever human again, make sure to change your you know what's. And always keep your fur clean. Ash was too emotional to argue and just nodded. I will, Mom. That's my baby boy. The world around them started to fade around them as Delia's eyes got heavy. Ash panicked. He didn't know what to do, how to save her. No, Mom. Don't close your eyes. Please don't go. I love you. No. Her eyes closed, along with her heart. No. Everyone jumped at Ash's scream. Night time was over and everyone was about to get breakfast ready. Ash, what's the matter? Ash ignored their questions. He was having a hard time controlling his breathing and in a fit of rage shot a shadow ball at a nearby tree, causing it to fall and the Pokemon inside to fly or run away. Ash, why did you do that? Misty shouted. It was new to see Ash this worked up. He looked at his friends, the tears appearing and dampening his fur. She's dead. My mom. It's all Team Rocket's fault. He was going to release another attack, but a flash appeared and pulled him into a hug, along with a pink tail wrapped around him. Just let it out, Ash. Ash knew who it was. All he could do was hug her back like his life depended on it. She's gone. She's really gone. Mew rubbed his back in a motherly way. She felt so useless and she hated it, seeing her child like this, and she couldn't do anything. But she will always be watching over you. Like we did. Sir, our traps are ready to capture the targets on your word, said a rocket grunt. Giovanni smirked, watching the screen in front of him showing both Mews. Attack and capture. Chapter 9, Getting Out of Hand. Everyone was silent, confused, worried for their friend. The only ones that knew what was wrong was the Mews, one of them still crying his eyes out onto the other's pink fur. Mew couldn't stand to see Ash like this. It was a very rare thing for him to be this sad and angry. Inside she was just as worried. She had been away and watched from afar for all of his life, and now the one who raised him was kidnapped and tortured to the point of death. Ash may never love her like he did with Delia, but right now he needs her, Arceus and his friends more than ever. Don't leave me. She looked down at him. His voice was full of pain, and with his crying he completely forgot about using his telepathically. I don't want to lose anyone else. Ash dash, whatever Mew was going to say was cut off. Her eyes moved around the camp. Then without any warning she pulled Ash behind her back, protecting him from a laser that was fired out of nowhere. When the shot made contact with Mew, it left her paralyzed and she fell to the ground. Mom! Ash quickly flew down and checked her. She was alive but unable to move any part of her body. What the heck was that? Misty asked in shock. Everyone else was on their feet and looked around. It didn't take long to get an answer. One of the flying traps came out of the bushes and went to capture the stunned Mew. It didn't get very far and was destroyed by the white-furred Mew with a aura sphere. I've lost my adoptive mother. I won't let you take her or anyone else. 9 more came out of hiding and circled around the group, stopping them from moving. Doesn't look like they want us going anywhere. May said as she got out her Pokeball. Can't you teleport us out, Ash? Pikachu asked the Mew. I can't teleport this many people. Then I guess we'll just have to fight back. Dawn and the other trainers got their own Pokeballs out. Max, look after Mew while we send these mechanical traps back to the Scarp Yard. Obeying his sister, he picked the paralyzed Pokemon up and hid behind the group and watched as they released their own Pokemon. Misty's Starmie span and destroyed the first that tried to move towards Max with Tackle. Brock's Krogunk shot the next with Poison Sting, followed with Tracy's Scyther slicing the third with its blades. The fourth and fifth trap was stopped by a combination attack from Dawn's Piplup and May's Blaziken using both a Whirlpool join with a Fire Spin. Pikachu and Lou took out the two more with a Thunderbolt and Aeroblast, and finally Ash finished the last two by smash them together with his Psychic. All around them was nothing but metal and different parts of the traps. "Is it over?" Misty asked. "For now." Everyone looked at the Mew in Max's arms. "But they know where we are. Those traps may be weak but their numbers are large. That's how the other legendaries have been captured." "Are you okay, Mom?" Ash asked in worry as he flew closer. Brock took Mew from Max and pulled out a Paralyze Heal from his bag. "Don't worry, Ash. She will be flying again in no time." The Rocket Grunt gulped as they finished watching the battle on the screen. Giovanni was dead quiet and didn't move a muscle. His silence alone was enough to bring fear to the other grunts in the room with him. "Should we send more out, sir?" The Rocket Boss shook his head. "No need. We'll have our new experiment capture them." "But sir, Project Alpha has had no real field work except for basic simulations. Are you sure we should let it out so soon?" Giovanni looked at the shaken Rocket Grunt. "Alpha's had more than enough time since its creation to know who its master is. Unlike Mutwo, Alpha was made loyal. Plus, Alpha should have no trouble dealing with some kids and low legendary Pokemon. Especially after taking all the power from the legendaries we've captured already." With that, the boss walked out the room, leaving the other workers. When he got to a large metal door, he entered in a code to unlock it and made his way into the dark room. The only light was from the hallway, making it hard to see the other person in the room. "It's time for your first mission. With all the training and power you've taken, it shouldn't be a problem." "What is the mission, Master?" Giovanni smirked. "Two legendaries have shown themselves, both Mews. They have some friends but only your everyday trainers. Take both of their power if you want, but make sure that the white-furred one is delivered to me personally." "Very well, my master." A flash lit the room as the creature teleported out of the room and set out to find its prey.